Okay, this is a microphone test of the emergency broadcast system. In the event of an emergency, you'll be asked to go to the nearest shelter and hide. This is a test. This is a microphone test. This is
and
me
don't
talking.
forget that you're all obligated to bring plenty of Coke.
Yes.
Are they converted you to Pepsi yet?
If you do not bring her a Coke or a Coke Zero, you will not be allowed into the shelter. So you must bring her a Coke. I'm purposely talking down and talking quietly so that she can get a decent mic check.
All the house speakers are on. Lori's good. I think we're good.
We're done? Everybody's happy?
Mm-hmm.
This concludes the microphone test of the California Community Colleges Board of Governors meeting.
Who is that?
That's my daughter.
Oh.
So that I know her.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good evening. We're going to begin the meeting with presentation of resolutions, and I'll turn it over to the Chancellor.
Thank you, President Block and members of the board. It's truly a pleasure this morning to bring before all of you a couple of resolutions that the board approved yesterday. And I'd like to begin by asking the first person the board's going to recognize to come forward. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating our former Board of Governor member, Jarena Storm. Jarena? We have colleagues that write these resolutions, and I think they sometimes wonder if anybody ever reads them. I'm not going to read all of these, but there's some words on here that really mean a lot, and so I am going to read a little bit of this. Whereas Jarena L. Storm was a valuable member of the California Community College Board of Governors from 2011 to 2013, representing the voice and views of the system's more than 2 million students. And whereas Jarena L. Storm earned an associate degree in political science with highest honors from College of Alameda and is on schedule to graduate in 2014 from the University of California, Berkeley with a bachelor's degree in political science and a minor in public policy. And whereas Jarena L. Storm ably served as the student trustee of the Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees during 2010-2011, now be it resolved that the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges appreciates the many contributions and accomplishments of Jarena L. Storm and wish her well in her future personal, professional, and civic and educational endeavors. Congratulate Jarena Storm.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Chancellor Harris. No, it was truly an honor and a pleasure to serve as the student member of the Board of Governors. I've learned a lot. I've made so many connections and friendships that really mean a lot to me. So the relationships that were made, the progress that was made within the system with the student success and other things that are happening, I'm honored and very proud to have been a part of that. So thank you all for your accolades. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for helping me, educating me, points, tips, all of that. I appreciate it so much, and you will never be forgotten. So thank you so much, State of California, and thank you everyone here and the students. Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask another former member of the Board of Governors to come forward. Please join me in welcoming Scott Himmelstein. Again, I'm going to read a little bit of this resolution. Whereas Scott Himmelstein served dutifully as Deputy Secretary of Education and later Acting Secretary of Education for the State of California in the capacity of Chief Policy Advisor to the Governor on K-12 and higher education issues, and whereas Scott Himmelstein masterfully served as Chairman and CEO of National Event Start Association, an organization that provides literacy opportunities for families by integrating early childhood, adult, and parenting education into a unified literacy program for disadvantaged families. And whereas Scott Himmelstein was president of the William D. Lynch Foundation for Children that campaigned for literacy, and whereas Scott Himmelstein was appointed in 2008 to the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and later served for 2 years as the board's president, now be it resolved that Scott Himmelstein's accomplishments as president of the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges and as a national educational leader are celebrated and honored not only by the members of the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges, but also by the people of the great state of California. Please join me in congratulating Scott Himmelstein.
Thank you, Bryce. Very nice to see everyone today. As Dorena ably said, made some terrific friends here over the years, and great to see all the members of the staff that I had the pleasure of working with for all those years. I think, you know, one of the great things about public service is that, like we all say, you want to leave the place better than when you got here. And thanks to all of my colleagues here and the staff during my time anyway, I feel that's the case. And I'm so pleased to see Chancellor Harris doing such a great job in leading this entity, and all of you still at it. I'm very, very proud to have been a part of this, and I wish you all the best in the future.
And now I'd like to ask the president of the board and the president of the College of Santa Barbara City College to please join me up here. Our Marty Blum and, of course, Lori, the president, who is all over the state all the time. Please join me in congratulating both of them. I'm going to read just a little bit of this resolution as well. Whereas Santa Barbara City College, under the fine leadership of Superintendent President Lori Gaskin, has been declared the winner of the 2013 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, having been selected from more than 1,000 of the nation's public community colleges. And whereas 64% of the first-time Santa Barbara City College students transfer or graduate within 3 years, compared with a national average of only 40%, whereas 48% of Hispanic students at Santa Barbara City College graduate or transfer within 3 years, compared with just 35% nationally, whereas the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges therefore recognizes and congratulates Santa Barbara City College as the 2013 winner of the prestigious National Aspen Award for outstanding work it is doing on behalf of community college students and showcasing its best practices that can now be shared with community colleges in the great state of California and throughout the United States. Please join me in congratulating Santa Barbara City College. We wanted this to be bigger than the Aspen Award.
Do you have that, Marty? Okay, great. I have to make sure my SBCC.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That it glitters, yes.
Well, thank you so much. The community of Santa Barbara, sure, we know we have a great institution, and we've all loved it because our neighbors go there or teach, or our children and grandchildren and so on. But it really is an honor to have a third party come in and tell you you're doing the right thing and you're doing it well. So when I hear these statistics, I think, oh, we can do better than that, you know. But I'm really grateful for the Aspen Award, and truly grateful that the Board of Governors chose to honor us in this way. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment that what the Aspen Institute highlighted when they visited us and when we were recognized with this honor are probably about 5 things. The first is an unwavering commitment, a palpable commitment to student success. The second thing is a really strong transfer program and successful transfer program. The third is creating a culture of college going and college readiness in our K-12 partner institutions. The fourth is the success we're achieving with our traditionally underrepresented populations. And then fifth is what Marty said. It's not resting on our laurels, but certainly always striving to do better. Those hallmarks are the hallmarks, if you add CTE, of every single community college in this state. So this award is really not for Santa Barbara City College. It's a recognition of the 112 community colleges and all of you. So I congratulate you. Thank you very much. No, let me carry for the board president.
Okay, but before we wind up this section of the agenda, there are just two more tokens we'd like to give out this morning, and I'd like to follow along on what Board President Baca said yesterday about a member of our team who is moving up, thankfully not moving out. But many of you know that behind the scenes of any successful board meeting is some poor person that has to do all the work. And that person in this case is in Jerry Griffin. And Jerry, would you please come forward?
Yeah, I know, that's cool.
Clearly at Christmas, this was one of those people who took her time.
Making it work still.
You're doing great. I got to get my glasses so we can read the inscription. It says, presented to Jerry Griffin for her dedication and distinguished service to the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges, November the 13th, 2013. Congratulations.
Jerry always said, don't take pictures.
Yes, you may.
I just want to say that I was only doing my job. It was important to me that the board was taken care of, and I really appreciate this because it was not expected. You guys have always treated me so nice and just have my back, and ever since my first day, and I really appreciate that. And Gary, Lance, Debbie have been here from day one, and they've seen all my growth, I think, and just all my dedication. You guys are so great, and I hope that whoever replaces me just knows that they're going to be working for a really great group of people. Thank you.
And then one more token. Occasionally, folks get away from you in spite of your attempt to keep them from getting out the back door. This guy's going out the front door. As many of you know, Barry Russell was recently named president of Las Positas College. And, we think a college president is a step down from the chancellor's office, but some people don't agree with that. But I do want to ask the new president of Las Positas to please come forward. Please congratulate Barry Russell. I'm going to read this one as well. It says, in honor of Dr. Barry Russell for outstanding service to the California Community Colleges as Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs from 2009 to 2013, presented by the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges, November 13, 2013.
Well, I want to just thank everyone here, the board, and my fellow vice chancellors, executive vice chancellors, and deputy vice chancellor. The past 4 years have been a great experience for me. I have enjoyed every moment, and I feel like I have 112 colleges that I know really well now, and a lot of people at all those colleges I've become to know as friends. So I will be moving on, but I'm still in the system, and I hope to see everybody at all the upcoming events. Thank you very much.
I also want to acknowledge that our good friend Frank Gornick sent the board these pistachios with a nice handwritten note. So let the record show we appreciate Frank's kindness.
Thank you, Chancellor. We'll expect those pistachios every month, or every meeting at least. Thank you. It's always great to be able to recognize people for their efforts. And Dorena, thank you for your service on the board again. Scott had to catch a flight, but I also want to comment on his contributions. And he did have the presidency during a significant part of our venture, both the student success, which I was very fortunate to have served on, and also the selection of a new chancellor, new outstanding chancellor. And so his contribution is significant. And Barry and Jury, wish you the best in your pursuits. Let me see here. We are going to pick up on an item that was on the agenda yesterday. We moved to this morning, California Community College's Student Success Priorities Project, a student awareness campaign.
Thank you, President Baca, members of the board. It's a pleasure to welcome Keitha Mills and her colleagues to the podium, and I'll let Keitha introduce the team and introduce the conversation. Keitha?
Terrific. Good morning, President Baca, members of the board. Joining me this morning is my Foundation Board President, Patty Sullivan, and the Foundation Vice President of Advancement, Melissa Connor. And before we jump into the presentation, I'd like to ask Patty maybe to make a few words of comment about kind of what's going on at the Foundation organization-wide.
Sure. Well, many things are going on, but specifically, I thought the Board of Governors would be interested in hearing a little bit about our strategic planning process. You've just getting to the point of wrapping up yours and your review of your strategic plan. We are in the process, we're just ending our 5-year strategic plan, and this year we kicked off a new process to review the current plan and then to collect feedback from all the constituencies. So I believe all of the vice chancellors have had an opportunity to provide input. We're collecting input from the colleges, from various leadership, from various foundations and organizations to get an understanding of how we as a foundation can better support the system as well as the colleges as well as the students. And what clearly has emerged in those conversations is the importance of aligning our strategic plan to yours as the Board of Governors, and what is emerging as a top priority is the student success initiatives. And I think it's wonderful when we can have a leadership project that we can highlight when we talk to potential funders that can capture their hearts and minds. And student success initiatives are certainly exactly that. So just a little bit on the time frame for it. We'll be doing our, it's about a year-long process. We'll be doing a mid-year review at our meeting in December. Two of the members of your board are members of our board as well, both Gary Reed and Lance Azumi. So they will be participating in that mid-year review. We will be then collecting additional input and finalizing drafts, reviewing that throughout the first half of the year, and then in June we will be finalizing it and then presenting it to all of you at meetings soon after that. So again, we're excited about the importance of alignment of the student success initiatives and our opportunity to benefit the students in particular, but also the colleges, the system, and to create a sustainable plan. I think that's one of the most difficult things, the challenges that we have as an organization now, and the structure that we have for the foundation is create a plan for sustainability. And I think grounding it on student success will help us with our funders and our programs. So thank you very much.
So kind of segueing on the topic of alignment, what we're going to talk to you about today is our Student Success Priorities Project, which is a student awareness campaign that's been funded through philanthropic dollars. And you guys may recall that back in 2012, which marked the end of the Osher Scholarship Fundraising Initiative and marked kind of the unveiling of the 22 Student Success Task Force recommendations, the foundation named Student Success as our flagship fundraising effort at that time. And in doing that, what we were really looking to do was to partner very closely with the Chancellor's Office to help carry the banner of student success, to leverage both new partnerships and existing partnerships to bring in additional philanthropic dollars that were really aimed to progress the implementation of key student success initiative recommendations. So far, over about an 18-month period, we've raised about $1.3 million in both direct project support and capacity building support for the foundation. We are working on initiatives that help increase support for entering students, that have improved technology services and student data alignment, and then really creating that hub for student success efforts here at the statewide level. In addition to the direct fundraising that we've done at the foundation, we've also been able to raise an additional $1.7 million through fiscal sponsor relationships. We have a very long-standing partnership with the Career Ladders Project. And then we've also established new partnerships with the California Colleges Guidance Initiative, which runs californiacolleges.edu, and also the Educational Results Partnership, which runs CalPass Plus. And so these are additional partnerships that are also focused on the student success initiatives, and again, kind of coming together at the statewide level as a hub for student success. I'm also very pleased to report that we have just recently submitted a proposal for $250,000 over 2 years to the Kresge Foundation and Jobs for the Future to establish a statewide California Community Colleges Student Success Center. This is a really important initiative that is really going to require a lot of collaboration and a lot of partnership throughout the state. The idea is to create a center at the statewide level, but that again acts as the hub for student success, but that really leverages the partnerships and leadership and great work that's happening throughout the system. We have a number of key lead partners on this project, including the Community College League of California, the California Community Colleges Academic Senate, the Research and Planning Group of the California Community Colleges. Again, the Career Ladders Project is an important partner, and there are a host of other constituents and partners throughout the state that are coming together to help support this initiative. So we've just submitted a letter of intent, and hope that we are successful in being invited back to submit a full proposal to get one of 3 grants that will be offered nationwide to, again, really help forward the initiatives and implementation related to student success. We're going to move into talking about currently our largest philanthropic project that falls under our student success umbrella. And this project is called the Priorities Project, and again, it's a close collaboration between the foundation and the Chancellor's Office, and it was supported by a $900,000 investment by the Kresge Foundation. So again, I want to talk about the collaboration that these philanthropic dollars are creating. This work was made possible by a number of people that have come together and worked really hard to pull this together, starting with our very own marketing and communications and technology divisions at the foundation. In the Chancellor's office, we've worked very closely with a number of divisions, including the Communications Division under the leadership of Vice Chancellor Paul Feast, the Student Services Division under the leadership of Linda Michalowski, the Technology Division under the leadership of Patrick Perry. We're also working very closely with the California Community College Technology Center at Butte College, and a number of key consultants, one of which is Amy Supinger, who you might recall was the Executive Director of the Student Success Task Force, and Lucha Ortega, who is also providing expert consulting services on the project. And Lucha is a former vice president of student services at Shasta College. So it's really been, a powerhouse team made up of statewide representation and, local level support that have really kind of come together and made this project possible. So you're going to hear a little bit later, I think, from Vice Chancellor Skinner and Chancellor Harris on strategic planning and implementation efforts related to the 22 task force recommendations. So I wanted to tie in how this project helps forward really a number of the recommendations that are within the 22. So the primary impacts are really focused on enrollment priorities and technology applications. There are secondary impacts related to assessment, orientation, and education planning, and encouraging students to declare a program of study. And the idea is that this project will lead to additional projects. So if we show success with investments like these from philanthropy, the idea is that we can continue to attract add-on dollars to expand on the project, to bring on additional support resources for our students to help them succeed. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa to talk a little bit about the campaign itself.
Thank you, Keitha and Patty, and thank you, Chancellor Harris, President Baca, and members of the board for allowing us to kind of show this project today. I get the fun part. I'm going to show you some of the creative work that we're doing and the design of the campaign and the website itself. But overall, it's a student outreach campaign and system-wide integrated website that's going to encourage students to get on track and stay on track right at the beginning of enrolling for college. And it promotes priority actions to help students achieve and maintain priority enrollment. So these are the 3 required actions now to maintain priority enrollment. So we have assessment for placement, completing orientation, and completing your ed plan. And the idea is to introduce the terminology, get students familiar with the concepts, and then give them some of the key resources they need right at the beginning to get on the right path. The campaign aims to inform students, but also aims to inspire students. And it hinges on the idea of tying priority enrollment to personal priorities of the students. And it communicates a process. Yes, you have to go through these steps, but it also speaks to the personal goals of the student. And this is a kind of early version of the creative. So the campaign is called the Step Forward Campaign. And it's about steps, again, but it's about moving forward. And so we've got the kind of green color, which is sort of the international color for go. And it's also about looking ahead, thinking about where you want to go, about your educational goals, your career goals, and even your life goals. And we have a tagline here that plays on the concept of priority enrollment. So the tagline is achieve your priority. And again, it makes it bigger than about just completing a process. This is an example of some of the imagery that we'll be using throughout the campaign. And the idea is to have real students on real college campuses. We'll be featuring their course of study and their priorities. So you can imagine a tagline on these images that says, my priority is teaching the next generation of scientists, or my priority is being the first in my family to graduate from college. And then you can imagine a student stepping forward to receive their diploma. And we will have kind of a traditional collateral campaign that goes out to the campuses. And so you can imagine this on posters and flyers, bookmarks, that sort of thing. There will also be a social media campaign. But maybe the biggest component of the project is the website. And the website will be an ongoing resource for students. So we'll have a big push with the campaign at the beginning with some of the collateral materials, but this website is going to be integrated in with CCC Apply, which is, of course, the common application system used by 95% of our students when they're registering for college. And by integrating it with CC Apply, it allows the website to be data-driven. So there's going to be key information about the student that will transfer over once they finish applying. So, for example, we'll know their name, we'll know the college they're going to, we'll know their course of study that they're envisioning that they will be following. And so that allows us to customize some of the content directly for the student. So if we know they're going to a specific college, we can provide a map to help them to get to orientation. Or if we know they're undecided about their career choice, then we can provide tools that allows them to explore some career information. There will also be a public version of the site available, and this will be available for colleges and students who aren't part of the CC Apply system. It'll also be a good resource for high school students and high school counselors who want to point students to a resource that lets them know what to expect when they get to a community college. This is an example of the transition screen. So a student has gone through CC Apply, they've hit submit. This would be the next screen they would see, and you can see it's already pulling information. So we have their name. So great, Jordan, you've completed your application and are on your way. Let us help you get there. Step forward. And then the student would be taken to the website. And this is a part of the homepage. It's kind of hard to capture the whole homepage here in a PowerPoint slide, but what you're seeing is kind of the above the fold of the homepage. So we'll have a series of rotating images. Here's an example of my priority is launching my own software company. And again, this will be a specific student, real student on a real college campus. We'll have a video here that helps students understand some of the new rules around priority enrollment right at the beginning. And then down below, you'll have a section on each of the three areas that we talked about. So there'll be a section on assessment, a section on orientation, and a section on ed planning, again with some customized content and resources. And we've actually we have some handouts that have the whole website that you can look at, the whole homepage, and with annotations about how each of the sections are going to function. So we're halfway through a 2-year project. Year 1 focused on design and messaging and kind of creating the structure that we need. We're now working on awareness. We presented this information at the Student Success Summit back in September. We're presenting at the Community College League of California Conference later this month. This information will be continuing to do this throughout the spring. We also use the Student Success Summit as a way to get feedback. We actually had 50 people at the summit who thoughtfully kind of went through all the materials and gave us feedback on the project, so that was really helpful. We plan to have a soft launch of collateral materials by the spring, so we should have an early version of the website and some collateral materials to kind of start testing. We'll be doing focus groups this summer in May and June and user testing of the website with the idea of a full launch in August in time for the 2014 school year. So that is our project, and thank you for letting us present it today as part of this kind of rollout and awareness piece.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments by the board? Vice President Bond?
First off, the design you presented is very attractive and seems to be very pleasing and well organized. And so, did you have to get an outside contractor, or how did you develop that?
No, it was actually developed in-house at the foundation. So we have a full built-out marketing technology team. So we're doing the design in-house. We're also doing the programming of the website in-house.
Wow, they're impressive. So the question I had though is, for a lot of issues, it's like, oh, we're going to create a website will solve our issue,
Right.
solve this one problem. And we've had enough presentations over the years that one project is saying, now look at our website, and it's going to do that. How do you get students to use it? Is the integration with CCC Apply? Is there a step that when they're applying, they will be put into this process?
Yes, and that's probably what we're most excited about in this project, because we knew we'd have a uphill battle if we wanted to launch another website, and we expected students to find their way there. And so with the integration with CCC Apply, I mean, we'll have 2 million users a year that see this website. So they would be, at the end of their application process, they would be immediately transferred to this website. And then this website will have links off to their college. So if we know what college they're going to, then they can go, we can direct them to the right resources at the college level.
And how much funding does the project have so that once you launch, 3 months into it, you could say, oh, students are getting to this point, but they're not progressing, and we may need to adjust the language, the architecture, the...
Yeah, that's a great point. We are going to build in a dashboard system so that we can get some feedback on how users are actually using the site, and which, you know, it will be a pretty cost-effective. We're building this as a content management system, so it'll be cost-effective to go in and make changes if we need to down the road.
But you'll have funding to then continue to monitor this initiative down, you know, a year after you launch. And
yeah, and we're looking at different types of sustainability funding, but we do see this as an integral part of CCC Applied moving forward. So it would be part of that oversight.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Now, the engagement with the field is going to be, well, you've got that with the chancellor's office, but with the field, will there be some follow-up with?
Yeah, it was exciting at the
planned?
Student Success Summit because we presented at the general session with over 500 people, you know, from every college throughout the state, and we did get a list of people who are interested in being part of the rollout strategy and providing ongoing feedback. We're continuing to gather participants for that process, and you know, we'll be presenting at different conferences even through the spring.
Aside from those kind of forums, are there any other efforts that you might engage in that are more focused?
We are very open to suggestions for that. I mean, it's a big field out there, so
right.
we want to make sure that people know that this is coming. It's a resource that's available.
Yeah.
So.
There'd be smaller forums which might work out even better than the larger settings. Very good. Good work. Moving along. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll move on to item number 5.2, update on student success. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Don't want to skip this one. I forgot this is, we're shifted a little bit. Academic Center presentation. Beth Smith, item 5.1, joined by David Marsh.
Thank you, President Baca, members of the board. It's really a pleasure to bring to the podium President and Vice President of the Academic Senate. Beth and David certainly need no introductions, but I think it's absolutely appropriate and fitting that the Academic Senate, on which the board relies for advice and counsel, specifically on teaching and learning and academic issues, would make a report to the board, and hopefully I've vamped long enough for you to get the program up. Beth, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chancellor Harrison, President Baca, and all the members of the board for having us here this morning. We're very glad to be able to share the work of the Senate with you and the work we're doing on your behalf. We know you have a lot of goals. We sit at the board meetings and pay attention to what seems to be priorities for all of you, and we just wanted to connect the dots to let you know how we're helping you achieve those goals. Wanted to also point out that the information that's in your agenda item about the Senate, that's the 5.1 information, is more of the technical aspects of the Senate and the relationship that's defined between the board and the Senate. And that's sort of background information that's always important for board members to have about what we do and where our website is and the links that we have and our events. So what we're here to share with you today is more about the actual work on the ground of the Senate. And it's really nice that we could follow after Diego's presentation yesterday, because his passion and his dedication to students was just so obvious to all of us, and we just want you to know that there are thousands and thousands of Diegos at our campuses doing work and so engaged with students and wanting to find the right way to improve student success. So we're always pleased when a faculty member can come here and share their work, and we just want to make sure you know that there's lots of us out there. So our goals for today are to let you know about the established partnerships we have in the state, review the work of the Senate regarding student success, show how our work supports your goals, and then hopefully make sure that we've made enough connections so that you can confidently speak about the work of the faculty in the state. We know that you're in lots of venues, maybe outside of our state, and so it would be great if you would be able to share some of our work beyond this room. One of our key partners is the Chancellor's Office, and we are grateful every day for all of these folks over here and Linda, who's not here today, but everybody doing their part and always willing to assist us, go-to folks on every issue under the sun, and we're very, very pleased that the relationship between the Senate and the Chancellor's Office continues to grow and strengthen. Barry, once again, we're going to miss you. Thanks for all your leadership in academic affairs. That is a key place where faculty and the Senate are engaged with the Chancellor's Office, but certainly everybody up here has played a role, and we're really happy about that. Patrick was a great presenter at our plenary, as President Baca mentioned, and yeah, the place is still vibrating, from all the clapping and the laughing. It was really great. Thank you. We also are partnering with lots of other organizations. You just heard from the foundation that the Senate is partnering on this proposal, and we're hopeful that it's a successful proposal for a statewide Student Success Center here in California. We partner with CCLC and the Student Senate, Consultation Council members. There are lots of other partners in our system that are not around the Consultation Council, but are certainly folks and entities that the Senate needs to engage with. And then we have many partners outside our system as well. We work with CSU and UC on a regular basis for a number of the initiatives going on in the state.
Okay, good morning.
You're on.
Is it on? Okay, wasn't sure. Okay, thank you. So a few of the specific things that we've done for the board in terms of working towards student success. First one that we wanted to mention had to do with the changes we made over the past couple of years regarding the placing of prerequisites and the establishing of prerequisites. The major project on which we worked with the Chancellor's Office as well as other groups, the CIO organization, the RP group, and others. First, to make the changes to Title V to allow the establishing of prerequisites through content review, but then also to provide guidance to the colleges in terms of implementation and putting those prerequisites in place, and to encourage them to do so as greatly as we could. The prerequisites respond to Student Success Task Force Recommendation 3.4, which talks about getting students to take their basic skills classes in their first year. And our position was that if we could have proper prerequisites in place, then students of a necessity would need to get into the classes in the proper order. So it's one of the ways in which we tried to move forward with helping to move the Student Success Task Force recommendations. The second, various ways in which we have helped with complying with legislation. One of those is, of course, SB 1440 and the transfer degrees, which you heard a lot about yesterday, and we'll mention a little bit more fully, both Beth and myself, in a couple of minutes. Another one is the Open Educational Resources bills from last year and the library for the OER materials. And so those, again, are things we have a little more information about in just a moment. Our work with the faculty of the other segments within the state. And that involves not only the transfer degrees and the CID project, which is very closely related there, but various other things that we do. The general focus this year, or a focus this year, has had to do with general education and the importance of general education in various ways, something that the universities are very interested in, but that's very important to all of us, and again, something we'll say a little bit more about. And then we also do work here with our faculty partners from the other segments in Sacramento, working here with the legislature, with others here to get a unified faculty voice for the interests that serve the common interest of all three of our systems together. And finally, bringing our expertise to the various initiatives that happen around the state. Once again, not just things like SB 1440 degrees, although that certainly counts, but also things like the Statewide Career Pathways Project, the Doing What Matters Project, which we were there for the meetings all the way through on those and a presence and participating in those. So the various initiatives that come from the board, from the Chancellor's Office, that we are asked to do on the part of others, that we participate in various ways to try to bring a faculty perspective and bring our knowledge to the discussion on those. specifically a couple of pieces of legislation on which we have worked with the CSU and the UC faculty. Again, you've already heard about the transfer degrees quite a lot yesterday. And once again, the CID project that goes with them, and now working on SB 440. That is something that we have a little more information with Beth will share with you in just a moment. And again, the Open Educational Resources Project, SB 1052 and 1053. This is a pretty large project and is one of those things that we were asked by the legislature to do without an identified set of resources in which to do it. So that doesn't stop us, but does sometimes make us do a little bit of searching to find the resources. We believe we've done so now and are moving that forward, and we'll have that going in earnest early next year is our expectation. And the various ways in which California and which our faculty are really ahead of the curve nationally. There's been a lot of talk nationally about transfer, obviously, and of creating transfer curriculum and requirements and expectations on a common level. We've had that for over 20 years with IGETC in this state, so something that is not there in other states. The same thing with the transfer degrees, which again, we have worked very hard to create a great many of, and something that's been talked about elsewhere, but that doesn't exist elsewhere, and that we have been able to move forward effectively. In terms of governance, both at the local level, where you have local academic senates to work with local boards to supply input, to work collegially, to work to move both local and statewide initiatives forward, but then also here, to have the statewide academic senate as an organization that is engaged, recognized, and that can help you with producing high quality results. And we hope that those initiatives that I just been mentioning will help to demonstrate that when we are asked by you to do something and to move an idea forward, I think you can have full confidence that it gets done.
So I wanted to share some data with you, as promised, from yesterday. I know that you know all of our enrollment trends have been decreasing up to this year, where we're probably going to see a slight increase once again. But over the last few years, we have seen a decrease. So just looking at a trend over the last few years. Over that same time, the number of degrees awarded has gone up, even though the number of students has gone down. And more importantly, we've added a new opportunity for students to be awarded degrees. Those are the associate degrees for transfer. We didn't even have them in 2010 or 11. That was when the legislation was signed, and almost immediately we were able to have students participating in these degrees when the ink was still wet on the legislation. So we were really proud of that fact, and you can see the numbers continue to grow. So over the time that the number of students have gone down, the number of degrees has gone up considerably, and if you're quantitatively inclined, you can calculate the number of degrees per 1,000 student as having increased 28%. Now, if you add to that the number of students who actually transferred and took advantage of the guarantees of the associate degrees for transfer, we're starting to see a new trend line that we can track. Barry mentioned yesterday we had about 400 students participate in the first year, really, that students could have transferred with these degrees. And this year we're anticipating there were about 1,000 students who are able to engage and utilize the 1440 guarantees. And we expect those numbers just to continue to increase as more of the degrees become available and more students learn about this process, and all the workings get ironed out. We are really excited about these numbers. They are very small, as I'm sure you can imagine. 400 or 1,000 students doesn't sound like very many when Barry mentioned that over 40,000 transfer to CSU. But this is brand new. It has a lot of promise, and the faculty and the students, the counselors, everybody that's working on this are just really gearing it up and going to make it work in the way that all of us intended. So we have a lot of promise. The other thing that's interesting, if you look at that right-hand column in the fact that we awarded 5,300 but only 1,000 students went to CSU immediately. Now they could go another year, another time. We'll have to track and see what happens to them. But where did the other 4,300 go? Did they go to UC? Did they go to another institution? Were they satisfied with their associate degree and went to work? We're going to have to track and find out what happened to them, but it's really important to know that our work in having those students earn degrees is increasing, and the students will have that credential to show for their work at the community colleges. So the Senate works in lots of ways, statewide as well as locally. We are definitely involved in governance, as David mentioned. We work with our colleges in terms of helping them meet the standards for accreditation. We are working diligently right now with City College of San Francisco on the governance and SLO side. You heard yesterday from Trustee Agrella that he has seen an improvement in the SLO area at City College, and we're very pleased to be able to support those efforts. We're deeply involved in curriculum, professional development, and workforce development. And CID is our primary infrastructure tool to accomplish a lot of this work. This was a project that was initiated by legislation that required us to develop a common numbering system for courses within the state. And the reason for that is to help students navigate and to help faculty who are trying to, and counselors work with plugging those pieces in so that a student can earn a degree. And so we are really moving this initiative forward in a way that supports all of the efforts that are going on. Your expectation that students have clear pathways, your expectation that students would have a clear understanding of how their courses work and are accepted across different colleges is all going to be supported and improved by the CID structure. We also have some information about our CTE students. There was a survey that was sent out to CTE completer students, so those students that completed programs at our colleges. About 47,000 students participated in the survey. Over 11,000 responded, and what we found from those students is that their hourly wage, again, increased, that magic number, 28% over that time that they spent with us. And we also asked them why they left the colleges. And so here is the feedback that they provided to us. Well, I completed the program, or my goals were met, transferred to another school, I got a job. We also have some reasons that students dropped out that were not especially leading to the completion of a program, but are still very relevant to us as we try to continue to support their efforts. They didn't have time for the classes, or the classes that they needed weren't available, or for family or personal reasons. But those top four reasons for why students left the community colleges are the right ones for us as we look at trying to get more students to complete their goals and to move into the workforce. And even if they had to leave because of family or personal matters, then this wasn't the right time for them to be a student. This was the right time for them to prioritize their work at home and come back to us at another time. And they know that we're available and ready to accept them when they're here.
So yesterday, President Baca made some comments about our plenary session, which happened recently, and we were thrilled to have him and Member Bielansky there with us as well at the plenary session, and thrilled that you had a great experience there. And the important thing to us is that this plenary session was, in that sense, I hope, similar to all of our plenary sessions, which we hold twice a year. And I think they are generally a great experience for us to put on, attended by faculty from just about all of the colleges around the state. For us to come together allows us to train, to educate our faculty further, to move the initiatives forward that we need to. And then we also have other events throughout the year. Those are the two major ones, but our Curriculum Institute, our Leadership Institute for growing new faculty leaders, those things are listed in your agenda item and those various different meetings. But those are important things to us and an important part of our work in helping us to move the system forward. We also want to talk a little bit about general education, because again, this has been something that we've been involved in a lot of discussions of recently. And in February, we are holding our academic academy with a focus specifically on general education. And it is important to us because we see the reports that say that the average person in the course of his or her life will change jobs 5 to 7 times. So it is important not just to give students a major and education in a specific area, but also give them a broader education so that they can both not just have a job, but be prepared for the possible job switches that they need to do throughout their lives. But also not just to, student success shouldn't just be about getting a student a job. We're also creating members of our community. And so also the importance of creating an educated electorate, people who are not just workers but thinkers. And so those are very important things to us in terms of general education being the thing that in our programs helps to guarantee quality and guarantee the integrity of our programs overall. So we have a couple of quotations from you here from a book that Beth has been reading recently, College Unbound. And this one, that business leaders, namely IBM and Procter & Gamble chiefs, say students in the liberal arts bring to the workplace creativity, problem solving, flexibility, and teamwork, where you get to exercise your whole brain. And college graduates need a deep skill in some academic subject, but that depth in one area needs to be supplemented with other knowledge, and that's the breadth, and that's what we try to achieve with our general education plans. So this is, again, something that is an ongoing project for us and something that will help us to advance the various student success goals of the board, and something that we are working cooperatively. Again, it's also something that the UC and CSU faculty are very interested in, so they will be participating with us in the Academic Academy in February, and we're very excited to be coming together with them on that project. And ultimately, in the end, we want to point out to you that we are proud to be the best faculty in California, to be able to be a group that you can count on, an energetic, well-trained group that can help you to do the things that we need to do to serve the state and to serve the system. And so some of the things that we would like for you to be able to take away and to think about and hopefully to communicate for us, I think Beth is going to talk about.
So why you have the best faculty on the planet is because of the quality assurance that we provide on the curriculum and all the programs that we have working on your behalf. The integrity of the faculty in this state, continuing to find ways to ensure that we have the right programs, that the students are getting the information that they need, and that we hold the students to those outcomes and those expectations in those courses. We're responsive to the needs of our communities, just like local boards try to be responsive. We have a place in also ensuring responsiveness to the demands of industry, to our communities, and so we continue to step that up with our professionalism, our innovation, and academic excellence. And we are working on your behalf every day to make sure that students have success, that students have the contacts and the support that they need to achieve their goals. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, David and Beth. Member Belansky.
Well, I'll start off by saying thank you, and a special thank you for focusing on students, because I think that that kind of data all of the time or information is very important to keep communicating throughout the state, because I think sometimes we lose sight of how much is happening and how much is being accomplished. I wanted to mention the fact that you're also doing regional curriculum meetings this year. One will be Saturday in my district at Laney College. And I wanted to just also make a comment about the Academic Academy and the fact that it's focusing on GE and that the CSU system will be involved. Because with the CSU system, GE is getting a lot of attention as to other ways to go about bringing those skills, giving those skills, enhancing those skills for students. Santa Barbara, as an example, has a partnership with the CSU system where they do GE in a very different manner. It's not by courses, and it's not by credits per se, but it's by skills. And a number of the CSU schools have moved to things like the Chico, CSU Chico done with these combined classes where then they have to do these public presentations, and they invite a lot of members of the community to come in and to listen to the students' presentations to try to assure the students that general education is about certain skills that you're going to take with you and keep with you. And I think that that's important to be aware of and to know that this is getting that kind of focus and that kind of attention, so that students who would sometimes take classes and say, now why am I doing this? Because this is not my major. is getting a better approach. And just a couple of things with regard to the ADTs, since we've been talking about them. I think we need to continue to try to, and I don't know how that's gone over, we need to continue to try to educate colleges to the fact that this is the first time where we've done program articulation, not course-by-course articulation, not GE articulation, but program articulation, and I think we lose sight of that. And I'll only make one little request as an articulation officer, and that's with CID. I'd like to see more of the CSUs, once a course has been approved for CID, to use that for course-to-course articulation. There are a few that are willing to go into the CID system in CSU and do that course-to-course articulation in the majors, but it's only a few that are doing it so far, and it'd be great if all 23 could buy into the CID to the extent that if the four Spanish courses get approved, that suddenly where you didn't have major articulation and assist, it would transfer over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Isumi?
Thank you, President Baca. And thank you, Beth and David, very much for such a comprehensive and very informative presentation. I just wanted to say thank you to you and to the rest of the Academic Senate for all the work you do. I've been on the board since Ian Walton was the president way back many moons ago. And I know that whenever we had a difficult issue come up, during our work here on the board, for example, when I was president, issues of common assessment and things like that, the first organization we would turn to would be the Academic Senate. And so for all your work, especially the work in some of those difficult, challenging issues, I want to say thank you for all of that and look forward to your continued advice to this board in the future.
Thank you.
Member Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, great presentation, and thank you for your service and your leadership. Among the many things that you said that I found really interesting and edifying, but a little confusing too, was this dichotomy between our declining student population and yet our increasing success with this part of the work. And I'm not sure if that's something that we should take too seriously. I don't know what story that tells, but what does that data say to you, and what should it say to us?
Well, I think it became clear to students that when courses were more scarce, that they needed to be more intentional about getting their coursework done and completing their programs. And I think that resonated with the students who were there. It also is a reflection of the courses that were available to students. You might remember that there were some big shifts in what was available to students. Courses were reduced in terms of offerings, so students were able to probably get more of their requirements filled in a more timely way should they be able to access the courses. So I hope that as we see enrollment go back up again, that we're going to continue to see those numbers just increase more rapidly, and show more progress for all of us. But that would be my response.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Vice President Ball.
I want to follow up on Member Izumi's comments, too, just to express my personal gratitude to the Senate for everything that it's done to help us move forward in many of the initiatives and helping the community college system gain the reputation in the Capitol that we are flexible, we are willing to embrace change and move forward on change. And SB 1440 is a prime example of that. And so that when we see a problem and work together on a challenge, we can overcome all kinds of institutional barriers and do that in a way that they've been more supportive of us of late. And with respect to the ADTs, too, I think that one of the things when President Baca and Vice Chancellor Skinner and I went with the independent California colleges and universities, too, we're also proselytizing, saying you should also begin to recognize and accept these degrees they'll have individual articulation agreements with individual campuses, but it was news to many of the people in the room what a comprehensive effort had been undertaken to prepare community college students for transfer. And I agree with exactly what you said earlier. Diego was one example, but there are thousands of examples, and I look forward to continuing to hear from the Senate and be showcasing the the success that's being achieved in individual campuses, because again, I think we know what works, and you've demonstrated what works, and we, it's great that we can consult with the Senate and help inform the decisions that we make, and use those examples and take them into consideration as we set the policy.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you both for your work, and the work of the Academic Senate can't be overstated because it's quite significant. 1440 example. We've got many other ones. I do want to make a comment with regard to the student success initiatives, and we're going to hear about them in a little bit from the vice chancellors. But much of what we have done as an initial impetus and work on student success is heavily on the student services area. I think that should be a signal that that's where student success rests in terms of processes. Certainly, student services, personnel, the process that we use are very key and very important in pursuit of actual student success. But ultimately, it is what we do in terms of the processes that are either in the classroom, affiliated with the classroom, or in that support that is really knowledge-based and content-based. So I say that to colleges and districts across the state that it's very important to have a more holistic view in terms of organizing towards this reorganizing pursuit of student success and making sure that the Academic Senate is a key player, not as a reference or consultant, but actually integrated in developing those elements that are crucial to developing and actually achieving our goal in student success. Thank you very much. I look forward to the upcoming presentations by the Academic Senate at this board meeting. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I think we'll take a short break, about 10 minutes, and then we'll